Hello, and welcome to the Darby Creek Diaries. I'm Carol Thompson, and today we are celebrating Miranda Mathis and her Multiplicity Crafts, that's really hard to say, her 10,000 subscriber hop. There are going to be giveaways, and all the information for that is below in the description box. Now, the theme was interactive, and my argument would be that there isn't anything more interactive than a candy bag. However, I do use googly eyes, so there is a little bit of an interactive element. I was hurrying to make these because we had an early Easter dinner here at my house last weekend. I just got the Hippity Hoppity stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. And it's really cute. It's a super simple set, which is perfect because I didn't know if I was going to get out all of my tools. And then I just used some clear candy bags or treat bags. You can get those at any big box store. Now, this hadn't been used before the set, so I'm seasoning the stamps so it will adhere, the ink will adhere better. And I just love VersaFine Clair. It's a pigment ink. It absolutely is, it's dark and it's just a crisp. And I use VersaFine, the other for just the fine stamping. Now, I'm going to just use a block for this. We're doing freestyle stamping, the old-fashioned way. Now, I see that I messed up on the ear there, and I'm going to show you how I fix that later because I obviously can't go over it. I didn't get out the MISTI. I do eventually cheat and get out my scan and cut, but for this particular section, I went ahead and I'm going to fussy cut it, but I don't know why I always stick my finger out, why I do that. But I'm just filling the paper with the front end of the bunny and the back end of the bunny. And I knew I was going to make placeholders, but then they kind of morphed into treat bags. So I'm wiping this off because I get ink everywhere. If there's the slightest bit of ink that I can touch and smear into my cards, I do it. And it's annoying, and it happens every time. So I fill up my paper because this I knew I was going to put in the scan and cut. And I just lay the stamp there so that it can absorb into the paper. So, don't be in a huge hurry. Just let it set a second. I'm trying out these new Simon Says Stamp scissors. The jury's still out on them. I mean, I like them. They're nice and sharp and everything. I think maybe they just need to be kind of broken in. My little cutter bees are, I just kind of zoom around with them. Now, these do have Teflon blades, but anyhow, I'm showing you there to cut into the corners so that you don't, then it's easier to maneuver things around. You just go around and you just snip right into the corners. And always move the item, not the scissors. And, I mean, this is just easy peasy lemon squeezy to cut out. It really doesn't get any easier than this. However, there are definitely dies available if you don't have a scan and cut and you want to do a whole bunch of them. Now, here's what the cheat is. This marker is probably 10 years old and I need to get a new one. But I always run this Memento Tuxedo black ink marker on my die cuts, especially if they're on white paper. I just run it along the edge. That way, if you've not cut something perfectly or something didn't stamp perfectly or whatever, and the sides don't show, they just don't stick out and look funny. So I just take a second, be professional, and run the marker along the side. It doesn't have to be this marker, but this marker really, truly, I think works the best. And always, I'm not doing it right now, but color from the back. That way, if it slips, you're slipping on the back of your thing and not on the front. Now I'm getting out the Bic Twin marker. It's got a thick and Pilot, I'm sorry, not Bic. And I'm just going to fix that ear. No one will be the wiser. Just draw the tip, and there you go. You can't tell. So that's how I fix things when I use a stamp that's, I'm not using the Misty or any other positioning tool. Now I have Prismacolor pencils, and I am not a colorer. I'm just going to tell you that. So I'm just laying down some color, and I put down a light color, and then I put down a darker pink just to do a little shading, but absolutely nothing fancy, not for me. I usually don't show people coloring, but I figured I would show just this little bit. Next, I get out my Gamsol, which is a wonderful trick. And I have it in a Tim Holtz alcohol ink blender pen. And I'm going to search for those. I'm putting the supplies below, but I was having a hard time finding those. Anyway, it does a wonderful job of blending and smoothing out. You know how colored pencil kind of leaves streaky lines? Well, this smooths it out beautifully and really makes it a whole lot easier to use colored pencils. Now, remember, whenever you use colored pencils, the harder you press, once you cover that paper with wax, no more pencil's going to stick. It just will not stick on top of the wax. It only sticks to paper, so you don't want to press too hard. Now, here goes the Gamsol again, and I think that my marker's getting pretty dry, but if you see, it is smoothed out. It is not all streaky. Now I've got my googly eye selection, and I decided to go with the real, I don't think that's a thing, but with the normal googly eyes that you see out and about. I have some that are multicolored, but I didn't really like it. And now my glue, I work in a basement, and that glue gets cold, and it's hard sometimes to get out of the container. So I'm just dropping my googly eyes in. I'm not spending a whole bunch of time with it, but isn't he cute? And that's perfectly interactive. I think he's a little lopsided there, so I straighten that out, but there we go. Eyes are done, because I have to do a dozen of these. And a time, of course, I'm doing this last minute. I'm going to go ahead and figure out what kind of face I want. They have several selections there. And I will put this on yet another block, because remember, we're freestyling today, just like we used to do in the 90s. I'm also treating this block with my cloth, kind of rough it up a little bit. And I'm going to stamp his little face, and I surely do hope it's in the frame. There we go. Now, since the eyeballs are kind of puffed up, it doesn't stamp completely, but at least it worked out. I'm okay with it. It's not like a mistake. It's just not the entire image. So there's his little face, and I'm pressing, but not CPR. And see, I didn't get the whole heart, but it's perfectly cute. I love it. And so that's how we're going to operate. I'm just going to wipe that off, and that's just because of the googly eyes. Now I start getting in a super hurry and cheating, and I just start using the regular eyes here in a little bit. Now there's the back end of the bunny. I am taking some just 6x6 paper and chopping it down because the bags were 5 inches wide. I'll save that extra piece for later. And then I'm going to use a little ball. It's cotton, I suppose, maybe. Anyhow, this Craft Perfect, I will look for that as well, because I was having trouble finding that. It's an older pattern paper book. And I originally was going to make it 3 inches on either side. And then I positioned everything, and I got to thinking, man, that's just too tall. It's not cool. I mean, you could do it, but it's awful clunky, I think, because the candy goes in the bag. So I cut that in half, and now we are just going to do 1.5 inch sides. And because I want the bunny to poke over the top, plus that's how I'm going to assemble him. I have to do a little sparkle, so we're doing just a little bit of sparkle in his little pink ears, and just you know, just for fun. You don't have to do this. And I can't believe I was doing it when I was already in a road race to get these done. So there you can see a little bit of sparkle and shine. Of course, I have to make sure that it's perfect, or at least as close as possible. I don't mean that I'm a perfectionist. It's just if I see a gap, I can't stand it, even though these will be thrown away, I'm sure. Well, I'm positive. The little sentiment is too long because I said happy spring. So I decide that, you know, what are you going to do? The best thing to do is just perform the surgery. I'm using my mini Misty, which has a sticker there behind. It's a stick-it pad, and it's not as sticky as it was because I forgot to put the wrapper on. There, we're cutting the stamp. I promise it doesn't hurt. Now, Lumpy Bunny isn't helping out, but I wanted to position this. I'm using one of those grids from Simon. That's pretty helpful because you can lay your stamp face down and line it up, and then you just bring the door down on it, and there you go. All you do is just pull the sheet off, and you ink it up, and now just do a little pressure, because if you smash words like that, it gets all smeary. So you want to just press gently. Now I'm making sure that I have the bunny in the spot I want it to be, and then I'm going to write everybody's name on the other side. I was going to use them as place cards, and then they wound up being a dual purpose. Now we have bunny butts. I didn't have enough all white. Now here are the candy bags. And I did, yes, eat some as I'm loading them up. And I decided to staple the bag shut, but then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue the bunny ears together. And then I'm going to, you know, obviously glue the front and the back. And then to put it on the bag, I decided that I would use glue dots, because then that way, if anybody wanted to, which I seriously don't think they wound up doing, then you could pull that off and keep it as a little keepsake or whatever. Somebody may for some other event. And so the bunny is symmetrical, so you just kind of shift him around and hold on to it for a second. And there you go. Mr. Bunny, the place card / treat bag topper. Very cute and interactive, if I may say so myself. So yeah, I wind up cutting some of that plastic off. Then I didn't have a stapler in my craft room, which is really unbelievable. So I had to run upstairs and get one. And then I finished them upstairs. But here is the bunny without the googly eyes using the stamp set. And then there's the bunny with the googly eyes. And see, I want to shake them again to prove my point. Yes, this is interactive. And you can pet the bunny butt. And there are the glue dots and that I put on. But I did staple the bag shut first. So here are I wind up not making one for myself so that I could get done quicker. I hope you enjoyed this and that you check everybody out in the 10K Multiplicity Crafts Hop, and that you will go and enter the drawing, and that you like, subscribe, and come back and see me. Gives me a thumbs up. I hope you have a great week. Congratulations again, Miranda. Bye-bye.